Hi everyone, and welcome to the Total Film Man of Steel podcast. I'm Matt Risley, and I'm joined by Sam Ashurst, Matt Matum, and Gav Murphy, and we'll be running through everything to do with Zack Snyder's Superman blockbuster epic. We'll be talking about the CGI, about the action, about the plot twists, and the casting. So if you haven't seen it yet, go away basically and come back when you have. And either way, feel free to subscribe to our channel right now, just here, as we'll be releasing new Man of Steel exclusive cast interviews every day. So yesterday, before we knew we were going to be recording this podcast, we went onto Twitter, Google+, and Facebook and put the shout out to you guys to ask what you thought about Man of Steel. You gave us your mini reviews, and it was a pretty kind of varied range. Matt Rushing02 on Twitter said that it was the Superman he's always wanted. Backburner144 on YouTube gave it a very specific 5.3 out of 10 and said that he liked it, but it didn't feel very realistic. And Marie... and Marie
flying around in that.
Marie MGS on Twitter said it was visually massive but emotionally empty. So that's a pretty kind of varied range. It feels like it was quite a polarizing movie. What did you guys think, kind of taking it in turns? As soon as you left the cinema, what did you think?
Well, it depends on which time I left the cinema, because I saw it 3 times this week.
Wow.
Yeah. And actually it's the same reaction each time. I felt the same level of excitement, the same level of emotional involvement, and yeah, obviously I absolutely loved it. But actually the 3rd time I saw it with the general public. It was
Schmoes.
12:30 screening on a Sunday, and there was applause at the end.
Yeah, there's applause at my one as well.
And when we left the cinema, I saw a couple of kids who were like doing impressions of scenes in the movie. A hipster behind me was like, "Oh man, I wouldn't change a single thing." So I'm glad that finally I've met some people who agree with me, because I do love it. But I'm sensing that you guys have a slightly different reaction.
What did you think, Matt?
For me, it's difficult. If we're talking literally how I felt leaving the cinema, then I'd say perhaps slightly miffed and disappointed, but at certain points during the film, I was actually thinking, wow, I love this. This is going to be a 5-star film for me. But it kind of lost something and lost me a bit before the very end. So it was a slightly mixed experience for me.
Yeah?
I don't think we saw the same film, man. Like, it's terrible. Like,
Terrible.
Terrible.
That's pretty strong.
Terrible.
I just didn't enjoy it at all. Like, I thought Zod was awesome. Other than that,
Awesome in a terrible film.
Other than him, there was nothing in the film that I thought was good. Like, I thought Superman was boring. I didn't like Lois Lane's character at all. I didn't believe their sort of like banter or their relationship. It felt more like a disaster movie. Like, it was a disaster of a movie, but it just felt like Volcano or Dante's Peak or like something like that. Like,
You're mad.
I don't know. It didn't feel like a superhero movie to me. It felt like.
Not the bits where he was flying around.
No,
in his super suit.
It didn't feel like that. Like when I saw the original Superman, like, you know, you really believe that he's flying around. And with this, I don't know. I just didn't. He was more like the Hulk than Superman. He's just smashing shit up all the time.
What did you think, Mr. Risley?
I enjoyed it. I had issues with it, but I think that as a Superman origin story, I think it did the job. I wasn't a particular fan of Superman Returns, so for me, this kind of had the perfect blend of kind of action and kind of drama. And I did have problems with it, which we'll go on to in a bit, but I was pretty satisfied.
I mean, Superman Returns is one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Again, pretty bold statement.
That is a bold statement, but it's completely justified. It is awful. It's awful. Watch it again. It's so
I saw it once
boring.
and never went back to it.
It's so boring. Well, I watched all the Superman films again in the lead up to this, and I actually, you know, the first time I saw Superman Returns, I didn't feel that passionately about it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, fine. But rewatching it again now, it's dated so much.
Really?
It's dated so much. It's awful.
I mean, it's an interesting comparison because Superman Returns wasn't really an origin story, but they were trying to kind of reboot the universe in a sense. How did you think this did as an actual origin story? Because again, they're trying to do the similar thing, but in a different vein.
In fairness to it, like I did actually enjoy that part of it. That I thought it was quite good for a while, but then it was like 3/4 of an hour. It was like, had enough of Russell Crowe now.
No, he was amazing. He jumped on the Avatar flying dragon thing. That stuff on Krypton was cool.
No. What? As soon as he jumped on that like dinosaur bit, I was like, no, I'm out.
Oh my God.
I do not.
You were out like 3 minutes in.
Yeah.
I'm glad you gave it a good chance.
That's about 20 minutes in, because it takes so long for anything to happen.
That prologue is 18 minutes long in total,
Okay.
and that encompasses, you know,
Dragons.
The awesome speech where he's with the council, Zod coming in, the dragon, the codex, and sending
the codec, which is just a USB stick. Like that annoyed me throughout the entire film.
The codex is the skull.
Oh, the skull thing. What was the USB thing?
Command key.
Command key, yeah. The bit where she's struggling is like it feels like you know when you try and put a USB stick in for the first time and you get it the wrong way around. That's what it was like when she was like trying to put it in. It's like, you try putting it around the other way, Lois. Yeah, worked. Cheers.
You're saying that was the biggest plot fault? It was someone with a USB.
No, that wasn't the biggest plot fault.
To me, though, in terms of the opening prologue and Superman's origin, that was definitely for me the most successful part of the film, because one, I loved the prologue as well. Like I thought it was kind of how they established Krypton in such a short amount of time, and it was actually one of the times I actually thought, God, I could have taken a whole film of this.
Absolutely.
Plus, I thought the way that they you saw Clark as a young person, and the way they kind of picked the different time periods to focus in on, because when you saw his ship kind of flying above the farm, I thought, oh no, here we go again. It's kind of the child growing up again, but then it just jumped, and it was like, wow, you know, it kind of really hooked me in. And the way he was kind of adjusting to his powers and stuff, I thought that was definitely the most successful part of the film for me.
I thought the casting of the kids was pretty good in regards to kind of showing it and you believing it was the same person. And there was that one who basically was Tom Welling, and I kind of felt bad for Tom Welling for not actually getting a chance to be in it. But yeah, no, I thought that was pretty well done. The only thing I didn't like was the Plato bit. Was it Plato? You know, it's just like, we're going to show that he's really intelligent by watching a farm teenager with Plato. But otherwise, I thought it was very good.
The Kevin Costner bit, it really annoyed me. Because they have that conversation before, and they say like, "Oh, yeah, you've got to be careful. Don't let anyone, don't let anyone know that you've got these powers and stuff." Running into a hurricane after your dad wouldn't be suspicious. Like anyone would do that, whether they're Superman or not. But then the thing that I don't get about that is, about 5 minutes before that, like before this big speech, don't let anyone do it, he fixes Lois Lane with his heat ray vision. Like,
yeah, in the middle of nowhere, where they're literally
but she knows then. Like, so he'll do that for a complete stranger he's never met before, but he won't save his dad because there's a couple of villagers behind him.
No,
and he'd get in trouble again.
No, at this point, like, it's not just that. He's also saved the oil rig in front of loads of people.
That's true.
Yeah.
He's, imagine this, developed as a person over the course of time.
But no, running into a hurricane after your dad wouldn't seem suspicious. They wouldn't be like, what's he doing? I'd run into a hurricane after my dad.
Yeah, but you don't know, like, what would actually occur within the hurricane. Like, he might have to fly, like, he might have gotten there and the thing enveloped them.
Until that point, in kind of his character arc, from what we've seen, he'd basically got to the point where he had finally decided to stop helping people. So that was kind of, do you know what I mean? Whereas after that, he might have learned from that and gone, oh, actually,
I do see that, but it happens very, very quickly.
But it's an amazing, powerful moment. Like,
I think.
Did you not think that?
I didn't feel it. It left me cold.
Moving on, talking about
also because I really like Kevin Costner in as well. I thought he was really good. And then
I was going to say this does lead on to the casting, because I thought Kevin Costner was great, and I think he had limited screen time, and it was just like, oh, you're awesome, and I want you to be like that.
To see Kevin Costner in a film. Like, it's awesome.
And like, you totally buy that this dude could be Superman's dad.
Definitely, yeah.
What did you think of the main casting? So kind of Henry Cavill and Amy Adams. Were you happy with him as a Superman?
Oh, completely. Like,
yeah, I was happy with him as Superman. I mean, I didn't enjoy it, but like, you know, him as Superman, I believed.
And yeah, the fact that he's a relative unknown, and that, you know, there's no baggage there, and yet he's still, like, how many people can be that big and still be able to, like, act? Do you know what I mean?
He's British. That's what it is.
That's it.
He, I thought he kind of, I mean, physically and visually, he was Superman. There was absolutely,
he looked ridiculous on that oil rig.
Insane. But yeah, so what about? But again, I mean, it's not the most necessarily charismatic or witty of characters. So, did you think that he had enough kind of charisma to keep you engaged throughout the whole thing?
No, I think so.
I think so, just because of his size. Like,
I mean, he perfectly looked the part and everything, but to me, I sort of preferred his performance when he was in the earlier stages where he was wandering and he was a bit lost. But I mean, I guess perhaps that's just that whole kind of Superman problem of him just being a slightly blank character. But
he's not a blank character.
What about
not
Amy?
at all, but anyway, go on.
What about Amy Adams as Lois Lane? Because obviously she's auditioned numerous times for this over the years, and she finally got the role. Do you think she kind of do you think that she delivered a good Lois performance, and B, did you like the kind of Lois Lane that you saw on camera?
I wasn't a huge fan. Like, she didn't have enough edge for my liking. Like, usually I like my Lois is to have a little tiny bit more edge, but I didn't really feel it with her.
I really like the approach they took with the character. I think people's memories of the original Superman have become a little bit fuzzy.
I'm talking about Terry Hatcher.
No, I'm not talking about you, but just Margot Kidder's Lois wasn't like a great female character. Like, when she's introduced, she's like having trouble spelling words, and it's like she's supposed to be this great journalist. And I thought that Amy Adams was pretty much one step ahead of everyone else in the movie. Like, she was a proper investigative journalist, and actually the fact that she knows that that Superman is Clark Kent and vice versa, I think is a brilliant twist, because it cuts out the fact that, you know, why wouldn't she know? She'd have to be an idiot not to know, because she interacts the most with both of them. And also the key problem of Superman, like talking about Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain, right? When she doesn't know there's amazing chemistry, and the minute she finds out, the show jumps the shark,
it's rubbish,
and it's rubbish. Whereas here they've got the chance to establish a chemistry that never has to go away. So yeah, I thought that whole thing was great.
The only thing I was frustrated with was I liked the build up to it, and I liked specifically the interrogation room scene, because there was actual flirting, and it felt like it was kind of building momentum, and then it just kind of went into full on the world's under attack, and they had to react to it. I think in the second one I'd like to see much more of the kind of the chemistry between those two, because I think it is there. But with kind of the final kiss at the end, that I wasn't completely sold on it. I think because there hadn't been enough banter between the two. Not banter,
that's the thing,
but just enough of a hook.
I'd like the second one to start with them like on holiday or something like that, so you can really get a sense of how these guys hang out together.
Whereas for me,
that'd be the closing party.
For me, I felt that their connection wasn't like they didn't fall in love with each other because they both got a great sense of humour and banter. It was because that she was the first person to truly understand him. Like, she was the first person he revealed himself to completely. And so I think their connection was on a deeper level. So I bought the kiss, and I like their relationship.
What about Michael Shannon?
He's awesome.
Oh my god, he's so good.
Like, he's just amazing in everything. But yeah, he was by far the best thing of the film. Like, definitely. Like, his Zod was just incredible, because you could see he had that like sort of evil streak in him, but it seemed to be coming from a really good place. And I really liked the idea that, you know, the idea of this Genesis thing where everyone is born to do a specific role. So, and he was like, well, I've been born to do this role. I'm going to protect it the only way I know how. And he seemed to have like such a respect for like Russell Crowe's character and just the entire world, and that was just amazing. And it's only, you know, really at the end where he sort of loses it. But even when he loses it, you still a little bit on his side.
Well, I got the sense that was kind of an honour thing for him. Because throughout the film, they talk about a good death is its own reward. And I got the sense that it was kind of a suicide thing, that he was forcing Kal-El's hand so that he'd have that honourable death. But anyway...
that's a good point, actually, because when he is actually focusing his beams, it seems like it would be very easy for him just to go blink and get rid of them. So yeah, that's a good point, actually.
But yeah, in terms of his performance, like the sort of the layers of it, like just certain looks he gives Jor-El and stuff, you can really feel that respect at certain points.
There's nothing cartoon about him at all. Like, he's a really, really good.
He's a soldier
guy. Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like you say, like, how many villains sort of in these kind of movies are as complex as that? Because if you were a Kryptonian watching this film, he would be the hero, no doubt. And yeah, I love that.
So I mean, kind of talking about the big kind of twists. So we talked about the whole Lois Lane knowing who he is thing. what about the kind of big climactic Zod Superman thing, which I presume is going to get a lot of people talking, especially comic book fans, because there's been a lot of outrage from people saying, oh, Superman doesn't kill, blah, blah, blah. However...
Yes, those aren't real Superman comic fans. These are people who think they have an idea of Superman that they've picked up from other things.
Brace yourself for the comments right now.
No, it's so true. I'm sorry, guys, but Superman does kill. Like, he's killed in the comics. He killed Zod in Superman 2. You've seen it. Sorry, this really annoys me. It is part of his character. And also, even if it wasn't, this is an origin story. And he doesn't have... It's like Batman Begins, he's learning how to be Superman. And his reaction after he kills Zod, that howl of anguish, I thought that was amazing.
That was quite powerful,
yeah. You never see that in films where like the hero regrets the death of the villain so much. And so he's learnt from that experience, and who knows, maybe in the second one or third one he'll be restricted because he won't want to kill because of that experience of killing the last of his people. So, yeah, sorry guys, but I disagree.
Saying about regretting the death of the people he's killed, so the action scenes, right, which I enjoyed, and I thought that actually for me, the 3D was good, and as much as two Supermen fighting at the end of a film, which is the only way that thing could have ended, I thought it did that pretty well. And the CGI, I think there was once when I was kind of like, oh, this is a bit rubbish, but everything else I believed in. However, they do like ruin Metropolis and probably kill thousands and thousands and thousands of people. What did you think of that?
That's mental. Like, tell you what I really can do with more with two Supermen running at each other and they jump into the air and then they collide in the air within a fight. Like, haven't seen that enough.
But how else are they going to do it? They weren't going to sit down like and play chess and go, actually, I think.
There was one scene actually where he's flying off and the camera is a little tiny bit behind his cape and it's almost like first person, just sort of over his shoulder. That bit was awesome.
Exactly.
As you say, like they're just flying through buildings. There's buildings crashing around them, and it's just everyone is dying. That's what I mean. It felt like it was like Hulk fighting someone.
This is it. Like the tagline in the original Superman is "You'll believe a man can fly." For this one, it's "You believe that you're flying alongside him." Like you really feel it. Like especially like
just don't be in a building that he flies past. Basically,
I would love for them to have just cut to somebody in one of those buildings just eating a Chinese. And literally look down and they're just not there anymore because someone's just flown through them.
The thing is that Zod has threatened to kill everyone on the planet one by one. Superman has to stop him. He's only just learnt to fly properly, right? He smashed through the mountain when, you know. So he's doing his best, guys. Right?
He's trying.
This guy, Zod, you take your eye off him to swoop and save a kitten out of a tree, he's gonna kill 10,000 people. But so he's got to take him down.
It's not even addressed. Like at no point does Lois go, dude. You just killed a lot
My nan
people.
was just not there
but
anymore.
Then who knows, maybe like in the sequel there's totally room for that because, you know, Lex Luthor has a platform now to say Superman is a bad guy. He destroyed the city, I've rebuilt it, you know, there's loads of ways that they can talk about that, but it's too much for one film. It's already like
the
2
Lex
hours
Corp
and
stuff was
23 minutes.
quite prominent throughout, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you
it
kept
was,
seeing stuff just everywhere that he's destroying and stuff. I think like the main sort of explosion is like 2 like oil rigs or wherever they are. But that was pretty cool.
Yeah, see, you love it. Terrible, you said. Terrible.
I fell asleep or something.
That's because you were tired. You just got back from E3.
So kind of that leads on to talking about a sequel. Do you think there will be a Man of Steel sequel? I think the box office records already probably suggest.
Yeah, the weird thing at the junket was, I don't know whether they didn't want to jinx it or whatever, but every time I brought up Man of Steel sequel, they're like, yeah, if there is one. It's like, of course there's going to be one.
Yeah.
But
Isn't it Break All June Records or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, done.
I mean, as such, that kind of leads on to Justice League of America. Do you think that, because now obviously the Dark Knight trilogy is wrapped up, DC, they're kind of putting a lot of pressure on this, a lot of expectation on this. Do you reckon that it's laid a decent enough bedrock for the DC movie universe to start to kind of spring off from?
No, I don't think so. Like, I want at least one more movie in this world.
Another character.
No, not even another character. Like, I don't want them to like... Yeah, I guess one more spin-off movie for, you know, Flash or whoever, but I want...
So dismissive of the Flash.
Well, I just... in my opinion, Aquaman's better than the Flash, so comment on that. But anyway, yeah, and I want to see these guys do another Superman film that's just about Superman.
Yeah, definitely.
Possibly with Batman, if it's Christian Bale, but at the end, right at the end.
Right at the end, yeah.
It might happen because, I mean, they've established that's the universe, like the Wayne Enterprises logo from Nolan's film on the satellite.
Yeah.
That means that they very much exist in the same universe, so it will be weird if now they recast. So I just hope that they're, you know, pulling up dump trucks full of money outside Christian Bale's door, because I would so love to see those two worlds collide. It'd be amazing.
I don't think, would it be a Christian Bale though? I think they.
I want Bale!
For,
Give me Bale! I will find him.
So do you feel as though your kind of opinion has been swayed somewhat by Sam's impassioned?
Not really, no. We have to say, like, before I went and saw it, you put up a comment which said, this film stands alongside Star Wars and Blade Runner.
Right. Now,
That's insane.
What Gav is doing here...
I wish I'd never read that before going to see it. I think that hampered it slightly.
Is you're taking a status update from Facebook, which is only supposed to be for family and friends. Currently consider you neither. But yeah, what I was saying with that comment, I said it was after I'd come out of it third time, and I said it's up there with Star Wars and Blade Runner for me.
Right.
And what I meant by it was that those films I can watch again and again and again and never get tired of them. It's exactly the same with Man of Steel for me. Each time I felt exactly the same way. So all I was saying is it's as good as some of my favourite films. I wasn't saying in film history.
It's like that whole thing. Like for me, I know The Dark Knight on pretty much every level is better than The Avengers, but for me, I'm always going to love The Avengers more than The Dark Knight. Right. I can watch The Dark Knight 5 times and just be like, okay, I get it, and it's amazing and it's brilliant. But The Avengers makes me turn into like a small girl.
See, I'm the other way around. I can watch The Dark Knight. Like I'd watch it 10 times a day. I have to be in the mood to watch The Avengers. But I mean, from what I did like about the film is it wasn't just like, oh, here he is, the origin story, here he is as a kid, here he is as a teenager, here he is a Daily Planet, and shit goes down. Fair enough. I did like that. I thought that was really, really good. But at the same time then, because of that, I missed the relationship between Lois and Clark. Like, because that's a huge part for me of what Superman is. And because it didn't have that, I felt like it was missing a lot, and because I expected going in to have that, and even though I was impressed that they've gone a completely different way with it, and I do like that they did that. For me, because it didn't have that really strong relationship between the two of them, it was spoiled slightly.
My biggest problem with the film kind of sort of ties into that point, is that it kind of like, it started to lose me a bit towards the end with all the kind of heavy action. I did enjoy it, I thought a lot of it was well staged, but I preferred the earlier origin parts. But then what kind of almost ruined the film for me, and why I left with a bit of a bad taste in my mouth, was the whole Daily Planet bit at the end, just for a number of reasons. It almost felt to me like they were kind of insulting the groundwork that they'd laid, setting him up as a real character.
Welcome to the planet.
And
he just sort of goes,
the most famous person in the world, and he puts on glasses, and like the editor of the newspaper who he saved doesn't even recognise him. I thought that just kind of, that left me thinking, what have you done?
It didn't feel like, this is probably a good thing, but it didn't feel like a Zack Snyder film. So I couldn't see Zack Snyder in that film. Like I couldn't, you know, because it's got like its sort of traits and stuff like that. You know, the sort of like slow down bits and speed up bits and stuff like that, and like really good use of music. But I didn't feel, I didn't feel like he put his stamp on it really.
No, I don't know about that.
I still think it was unique enough, and I think it kind of, even though it may not have had the slow-mo and all that kind of stuff, I think that he did a very good job with it. And actually, if everyone's giving him flack at the moment for doing the same stuff all the time, weird,
I can understand
owl movie aside, then, you know, that's kind of a good thing. And maybe, you know, he's taken a steer from Nolan and taken some of the advice on board, and he's going off to do bigger and better things. So wrapping things up, so are you excited about a sequel? Would you want to see more from Superman on screen?
As long as it's better than this,
Right? Matt?
Yes, depending on what avenue they go down with the Daily Planet stuff.
You see, I love the Daily Planet stuff. Like, all 3 times that I've seen it, I got chills when you see the tide flapping in the wind. And the thing about you would recognise him Have you ever seen someone who looks like a celebrity on the tube, like with a hat on, and you think, is that person? No, it can't be. It literally cannot be that person. They would never be on this tube.
But
so that's what, you know.
But then, yeah, maybe I've had that, but I haven't worked with someone that.
They didn't work with
He's more
Superman.
famous than the president.
on the level, yeah, on the level of
Glasses.
prominence across the world is my last thing and my only niggle.
Okay.
That's like saying Angelina Jolie rocks up to work one day with glasses on, and you go, does that look a little bit like?
Fair
And then you
enough.
spend the next.
All right.
Yeah,
I can
okay.
also suspend
You have to
disbelief for that
suspend
bit. Though. I can
disbelief. Yeah,
suspend disbelief
exactly.
for the glasses bit because that's part of the whole Superman thing. I've got no problem with that, to be
A
honest.
big
Yeah,
negative
good.
for me though was it reminded me of my least favourite scene in Superman Returns, which is saying something, when they kind of look at Clark
Oh my
through the
God.
kind of like glass office, and they're like, oh, how tall was Clark? And it was just like, oh, and then it just reminded me of that. And so I was
God,
like,
that
oh.
film, man, that film. But yeah, obviously I'm super excited for Man of Steel 2. I hear rumours that they want to release it as early as 2014. They're rushing it into
Wow.
production.
Really?
So yeah. So
That'd be
they
pretty
can,
bold.
so they can get Justice League out for 2015.
Wait, what year is it now? It's 2013, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. They're going straight into production on it. Personally, I think that's kind of a mistake. Man of Steel took 3 years, I think it was. And
Look how
because
that turned out, Sam.
yeah, amazing. So let's take the same time and care on the sequel.
I'm excited as well. I think I just want to see the relationships grow a little bit. I love the action. I just would have loved a little bit more mixing it up. But I suppose that's it from us. So the all-important question is what you think as well. So feel free to comment in the YouTube comments below. Talk to us on Twitter at Total Film, Facebook, facebook.com/Total Film, or Total Film on Google+.
Oh. And there's a 50 best moments from the film feature that will be up on the site at the end of today.
We've got so much Superman stuff, including lots of amazing exclusive interviews. So yeah, come back to totalfilm.com. Thank you very much.